The PPSR, or the Personal Property Securities Register, is an online register of all personal property that has security interests registered against it. Before the existence of the PPSR, if you borrowed money from a bank, the bank would take a fixed and floating charge over the assets of your business and then would register the debt with ASIC, the Australian Securities and Investment Commission. Today, instead of registering the debt with ASIC, the debt is now instead registered at the PPSR. Or suppose you were going to purchase a second-hand car and wanted to see if the vehicle had any security holds over it. Before the PPSR, the checks would have been done at REVS, the Register of Encumbered Vehicles. Today, the check is done at the PPSR. In fact, as of January 2012, all 70 registries around Australia have merged into a single registry called the PPSR. However, this new merger brings with it 750 pages of new legislation that change the way we deal with ownership, retention of title, and bankruptcies. Here's an example. In the past, when a company went bankrupt, the receiver would liquidate the company's assets and distribute them at 10 or 20 cents on the dollar between the secured creditors, the banks, and the tax office. The tax office was normally the creditor who was owed the most, so in the end, they were the ones who ended up with the highest payout. But with the introduction of the PPSR and its accompanying legislation, the receiver now pays the secured creditors in order of their PPSR registration date and in full. The ATO can't be a secured creditor, so with the PPSR, you'll always rank above the taxman. But the PPSR goes even further to protect its secured creditors. Let's suppose the receiver is paying the secured creditors in order of registration and the money runs out. The receiver can now use a clause from the Corporations Act called preferential payments. You see, the PPSR understands that companies don't go broke overnight. It usually takes at least 6 months. So if a creditor was paid during the previous 6 months and knew or ought to have known that the company was in financial trouble, then that creditor was paid in preference to the PPSR secured creditors. That means that under preferential payments, the receiver can now take back what was paid to the creditor by canceling the electronic deposits. He can then pay the PPSR secured creditors with the recovered funds. Also, by canceling the deposits, the receiver can overlook the fact that the unsecured creditor may no longer have access to the funds or may not have the funds at all. Being a secured creditor only costs from $8 per registration, and it puts you in the best possible position to recover your money. The added bonus is you will never be concerned about preferential payment clawback. Correctly written, legally binding terms of trade are required to ensure validity of your registrations, and we at EC Credit Control are here to assist you with implementing your credit management system.